Welcome to VNT. Please subscribe and hit the bell icon for more breaking updates. In the world of high technology, some disruptions arrive quietly, almost unnoticed at first, like a subtle tremor beneath the surface. But beneath that calm exterior, the foundations of entire industries can shift in an instant. The impact, when it comes, is seismic, sending shockwaves through boardrooms, laboratories, and trading floors around the globe. That's exactly what happened when China unveiled its new generation of advanced crash test dummies, a move that caught the world's attention and upended the status quo overnight. For decades, Europe and the US had been the undisputed leaders in this highly specialized multi-billion-pound industry, setting the standards and reaping the rewards of global demand. But China's breakthrough didn't just challenge that dominance, it wiped billions from Western company valuations overnight, sending investors scrambling and executives into crisis mode. These aren't ordinary mannequins, they're sophisticated robots, bristling with state-of-the-art sensors and artificial intelligence, each costing over £1 million. They can simulate human responses to crashes with unprecedented accuracy, providing data that could save countless lives. By developing dummies specifically tailored to Chinese and broader Asian body types, China didn't just catch up to the West, it leapfrogged ahead, setting a new global standard that Western firms are now struggling to match. This innovation addresses a long-standing gap in safety research, making vehicles safer for millions who were previously overlooked. The shock in European markets was immediate and profound. News of China's leap sent ripples through financial centers, as traders and analysts tried to grasp the scale of the disruption. Investors, who once believed their monopoly was unassailable, suddenly realized that their grip on the market was slipping, and fast. This isn't just about car safety or crash test dummies, it's a symbol of a much larger shift, a warning that no sector, no matter how niche or advanced, is safe from China's relentless technological ambitions. China's move is a wake-up call to the world, exposing Europe's vulnerability and its reliance on historical dominance in specialized manufacturing. It's a reminder that innovation can come from anywhere, and that the old rules no longer apply. As European manufacturers face the reality of losing their edge, the pressure is on to adapt, invest, and innovate, or risk being left behind in the new technological order. The stage is set for a much broader technological confrontation, one that will shape the future of industries, economies, and global power for years to come. For decades, Western firms like Humanetics and TAS International didn't just lead the crash test dummy market, they defined it. These companies became synonymous with automotive safety, setting the benchmarks that every other player had to follow. Their dummies were the gold standard, used in labs and crash tests across Europe, North America, and beyond. The influence of these firms stretched far beyond their own borders, shaping the very rules of the industry. Their dominance was built on decades of painstaking research, a fortress of patents, and a complex web of regulations that made it nearly impossible for new competitors to break in. Every innovation was quickly protected, and every standard was written with their products in mind. Car makers worldwide depended on these Western dummies to meet strict safety regulations. This created a powerful cycle. Manufacturers needed the dummies to sell cars, and regulators required the dummies for safety certification. The result? A self-reinforcing system that kept the same companies at the top year after year. The industry was stable, lucrative, and for a long time, complacent. Western dummies were seen as the ultimate measure of safety, and few questioned whether they truly represented everyone on the road. But beneath this surface of success was a crucial flaw. The dummies were modeled almost exclusively on Western body data, primarily average-sized white males. This meant that the safety of millions of drivers and passengers around the world was being measured against a narrow standard, ignoring the vast diversity of real human bodies. This oversight left a glaring gap in the market, an opportunity just waiting to be seized by anyone willing to challenge the status quo and rethink what a crash test dummy should represent. While Western firms rested on their laurels, confident in their dominance, China quietly began to gather its own biometric data, investing heavily in research and development. Chinese scientists and engineers worked to create dummies that better reflected their own population's unique characteristics. The result? Even the most entrenched monopolies can be toppled when someone dares to see what others have missed. The story of automotive safety is no longer just about the West, it's about who's willing to innovate for everyone. China's entry into the crash test dummy market was a shockwave, not a ripple. For decades, Western companies had enjoyed a near monopoly, setting the pace for automotive safety worldwide. But with a single bold move, China disrupted the status quo, sending ripples through boardrooms and trading floors across the globe. When Qatar announced its new dummies, Western stock prices plunged, decades of dominance threatened in an instant. Investors realized that the old business model, built on exclusive technology and global influence, was suddenly at risk. The financial world watched as billions in market value evaporated almost overnight. China's dummies, designed for Asian body types, offer more relevant safety data for a massive market. This wasn't just about new products, it was about tailoring technology to the needs of over 1 billion people, making Western models seem outdated and less effective for local consumers. By setting its own safety standards, China could lock Western firms out of the world's largest car market. These new regulations would force foreign companies to either adapt quickly or risk being sidelined, fundamentally shifting the balance of power in the global auto industry. This isn't just lost sales, it's lost service contracts, lost influence, and billions at stake. Western firms now face the prospect of losing not only revenue, but also their long-standing relationships and reputations in a market they once dominated. The unified global standard is fracturing, and Western firms face a nightmare scenario. The world that once followed their lead is now splitting into competing spheres of influence, with China at the center of a new, rapidly growing bloc. If Chinese standards spread, Western car makers must adapt or lose out. The pressure is on to redesign vehicles, retrain engineers, and rethink strategies just to stay in the game. China isn't just selling a product, it's rewriting the rules. By leading on safety, it's setting a precedent for other industries, signaling a new era where innovation and regulation are driven from Beijing, not Berlin or Detroit. The West is now playing catch-up in a game it once controlled. The question is no longer whether China can compete, but whether the rest of the world can keep up with China's pace of change. Ironically, as European tech firms struggle, European investors are pouring money into Chinese tech. It's not about patriotism, it's about chasing growth, and China's AI sector is booming. European capital is fueling the very companies disrupting Europe's own industries. Hong Kong's stock exchange is flooded with Chinese tech IPOs, raising billions. Meanwhile, European firms struggle to attract investment, starved of the resources needed to compete. Europe is, in effect, bankrolling its own competition and widening the gap. Europe's leaders are alarmed. At a recent summit, President Macron warned that Europe risks becoming a digital vassal to the US and China. German leaders echoed the urgency. Without its own tech champions, Europe will lose control over its future. The US dominates software. China leads in AI and advanced manufacturing. Europe's lack of a unified market and deep capital pools leads to brain drain and capital flight. The core anxiety: digital sovereignty. Without it, Europe's data and industries are at the mercy of foreign powers. The message is clear: Europe must act or be left behind. Europe is scrambling for a response, moving from alarm to action. The plan: a Franco-German alliance to drive a unified digital policy and foster homegrown tech giants. Simplifying regulations is key, creating a true digital single market so startups can scale across borders. Europe aims to unlock more capital, encouraging pension funds to invest in tech. There's talk of a Buy European policy, prioritizing local firms in public contracts. These measures are controversial, but many see them as necessary to level the playing field. Europe's tech survival may depend on bold, unified action. The crash test dummy disruption signals a new era, fierce competition between the US, China, and a scrambling Europe. China's push for its own standards could fragment global markets, forcing manufacturers to adapt to regional rules. Europe faces a choice: align with the US, accommodate China, or build its own tech stack. To survive, Europe must move fast, unify its market, unlock capital, and back its innovators. The Franco-German reflex must become real policy, or Europe risks digital irrelevance. This competition could spark innovation, or escalate into trade wars and digital fragmentation. The next decade is critical. The battle for tech supremacy will shape our digital future. The dummy has crashed the party. Now the world must decide how to respond.